Hello, beautiful people. So today we are with Iking Davis. He is helping people transforming his life in several ways by three pillars in his life. That is the nutrition, minds, and fitness. How are you, my friend, today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Really nice, man. Really nice. Thank you so much for the opportunity. So let's start from the beginning. If you can tell me a little bit about your story, your childhood, your background, just for the listeners and viewers that still don't know you.
Okay. Okay. So I'm originally from South Jersey, here in the States, and I grew up in the primarily like in the Atlantic City type of area. My mother and my stepfather, both of them were pretty overprotective. My stepfather more so, so much so that he pulled me out of school. So from going to kindergarten, like that's the first year that I did, and I never progressed into the first to 12th grades. So I did kindergarten, was pulled out, was homeschooled, and then from there forward, I ended up, he kept us locked in the house pretty much. Like the only way we could ever go anywhere was under his protection. He had to be there, like the house, the windows were all blacked out. He didn't want us looking outside. Basically, it was unnormal. It was a pretty unnormal situation to grow up in.
It's like captivity or like, and how much time it was? How much time you spend in that environment?
So I spent, I guess, from about the age of 4 to I was 22 in that
Wow,
environment.
wow.
Uh, and yeah, definitely, you said it's like a captivity. It was a huge mental captivity. That was
Yeah,
that's what it was.
for sure. But how do you think that that kind of environment turn you in the stronger person? How do you think that if it helps in some way?
So I went through actually a couple of phases. Like everybody, like a lot of people see me now as a stronger person or the strong person, but they don't see when I was 12, when I was suicidal, before suicidal, when I was homicidal, um, and then how I was, that was a little stretch, 12 probably to about 14 of just dealing with those emotions, and then coming around to a stronger mentality of where I'm at today, and I and I forget what your original question was, because that's how
No,
I
my
my brain
question.
works.
No, no, no problem. My question was how that affect you, if we can say in the positive way, like how that
Positive, yeah,
you understand
yeah,
because come on, it's
yeah.
so little to take from that. Like, in, it's a
It's a crappy
negative
situation.
experience.
It's a crappy situation to grow up in. But on a positive note, it definitely allowed me to, once I guess once I came to terms with I only have control over so much,
Hmm.
and it's something I've been mentioning more on my feed. If I only have control over how, you know, if like if I only have control over a certain distance of reach that I have, I'm not going to worry about trying to reach further. That's it. I'm not going to sit there and be like, oh, I wish I had more control. Or like, I can't control your opinions. I can't control the way you feel about a matter. So I'm not going to trouble myself trying to control the way you think about that. Like I was just talking to somebody and I was like, oh, if I like chocolate ice cream or I like vanilla and you like chocolate, I can't make you love vanilla as much as I do. Once I come to terms with
Exactly.
that I love vanilla, you love chocolate, but I can't, and I have no control or whatsoever over your ultimate decision of what you're gonna like, then I can start moving forward with my life. I can decide how much vanilla ice cream I want to eat. My ice cream is not gonna sit there melting because I'm worried about what you're eating. You know what I mean?
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's. I think it's a great lesson. Just man, think in yourself and don't try to influence other people in another way that you want to affect them. If it's a positive way, if you want the best for the person, but if it's just to compare, I don't want. I
Compare,
want. Yeah,
change.
Yeah, yeah, trying to change the people. Like I think, like it's no, you are what you are, and every person for me, I will say that as a flame, if you can say, a purpose. Do you believe in purpose in life?
Uh, they explain to me your like your view of purpose.
Purpose, I will say, if do you think that everyone has a meaning, like something to do, or being a writer or a speaker or digital marketer?
Yeah, I have like I have my own like a version of it where
Yes.
they're like that's where they're good at. That's what they love. That's what comes natural to them. And
Hmm.
I believe everybody has that.
What is yours? Can you share with me and with the listeners?
I think my purpose is to help people. Um, provide and I'm still like kind of fuzzy with exactly defining like if I had to write down my purpose, I'm still in that phase of like figuring out exactly what that looks like on paper. But it's helping people, inspiring people, and whether that be and helping people to take care of themselves. It's something I've never been able to love myself, and I'm starting to be able to get to that point where I'm able to appreciate myself and take myself into consideration, and not just physically but also mentally and emotionally. And I feel like my purpose is kind of gravitating in that direction of helping people to appreciate themselves emotionally and physically as well, whichever one, whether they need help in both areas or just in one area.
I think it's a great and meaningful purpose in life. And I want to imagine if I'm in the situation that I'm too afraid to risk to leave my job, or to pass, if I find already my purpose or something that I love, but I'm not too afraid to risk. What is your advice to me?
There's I've like Okay, so that would be like a small like context. So if I had like a scenario like I don't have to worry about money and
Mm,
living expenses and none of that, and I had my purpose or that something that I loved, then I would probably jump right in, whether I knew or not, because you can always ask yourself, you can always be like, I don't know how to do this, but how can I do it? Like that's one of my favorite words, how, because you know every like if you ask yourself how, it really unlocks your mind. You start looking around for answers. And that, that would be in a perfect ideal scenario. But like for instance, myself, I was working two jobs and trying to focus on my purpose, which is Rise Body Soul, of helping people fitness and inspiring them. So like you might have to work at inconvenient times, or stretch yourself a little, work a little bit later into the day. It's very common for me to work until like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, and be back up the next day around 8 o'clock, to continue with my, be at work at 9 and all that stuff. So if you know what your purpose is,
mm,
then you're going to find yourself making whatever sacrifices. And if you're scared to take the risk, if you start asking yourself and like how can you, or why you're scared and how you can get over that fear,
mm.
then it's going to help propel you forward.
Well, I think it's great advice, man. Great advice. Now, I want, like you were talking about your day. What is a normal day for you? Just to have idea.
A normal day for me, okay. um no days are no 2 days are exactly alike. First off,
True
they're going to
story.
be two different days. um So a normal day for me, I would be up like about 8 o'clock. I'll be at work about 9. I'll usually work, and this is going to change a little bit because I just got a new job. So I was selling health insurance primarily, but I think
Congrats.
I'm going to be leaving that. I'm going to be leaving that field because it's not my purpose at
Mm,
all.
mm, mm,
So I'm going to be working in the doctor's office. So that's going to be 8 to 5. But the way I see the rest of
okay.
my day going is, so I'll probably be up like at 7 o'clock to be there by 8.
Mm,
Then I'll be, get out at 5, and then I'll come out and I'm going to be working and pouring my soul into my fitness, my inspiration, trying to figure out, understanding my viewers, understanding what content works for them, developing, those values. And then I do work another part-time job, so I'll probably get out at 5, be pouring myself into my job 6 to like about 8 or 9, going to my part-time job. Some days is shorter than, and some days is longer. Like Thursdays, I'll be there to 3 in the morning, and to come back. And then um, I'll probably, if it's one of my short days, I'll probably stay up to like 1 or 2 in the morning. Again, working with individuals, communicating with my viewers or my community, and just editing content or stuff like that. It's a pretty long day.
I love your artwork, man. It's yeah, and for me it's about consistency, keeping the and it's not easy. 2 jobs and working in your own
Own
business.
field.
It's
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's not easy. I wanted to ask you now if you have like routines, if you have any morning routines or some things that you do in the morning or in the night.
I'm terrible at routine. As you can see,
No, no.
my days fluctuate. Like they fluctuated more before because I had more free freeness with my schedule. I wasn't tied to a strict schedule. But routines, if I had to get into a routine, which I'm working towards, I want to be up about like I want to get a workout in before I go to work. So that means getting up at about 6 o'clock, 5:30. I try to do meditation or priming at least 3 times a week. There's no specific time to do it, like a routine. But I'm working again, like I said, I'm working at a routine because I know when I do these things, I'm better as a person. I feel better, I perform better, I have more mental clarity. Um, so it would be this is like my goal, and I guess just to kind of be an accountability thing if I put it out there.
It's
Um,
already.
so six, so up at I want to be up at 5:30,
Okay.
work out, um, come get back, do some meditation, whether that's priming with Tony Robbins or some form of yoga.
Okay.
Do that for about 15 minutes, then take care of my body, eat my breakfast, which would be something cleaner or healthy, and then work, and that would be my day. But my routine, that would be my routine:
Morning routine.
exercise in the morning, and 15 at least 15 minutes of mental priming or meditation.
Okay. I wanted to talk now because for the listeners that still or viewers that still don't know what is priming. Can you explain for
Priming.
the ones that still don't know?
Okay, so you're familiar with priming. I was
Yeah,
like, I've never
yeah.
had anybody. Okay, so priming, it's like getting your brain to a peak state. As far as I understand, I'm pretty new to the priming. I'm more familiar with meditation, but priming is getting your brain to a peak state of positivity and, for me, gratitude.
Mhm.
So that way, I set myself up in either a day or an activity that so that way my brain is most open to the possibilities, it's
Mhm.
most open to all the good things to come to me. And that's something else I think is probably more consistent when I'm doing priming. If I'm going into an activity
Mhm.
that I want to be in a peak state, I might just do 15, I'll schedule 15 minutes before to
Hmm.
prime, before that activity.
That is nice. I never tried that. I will. Maybe I will. And which kind of other meditations you do?
Right now I've been just doing breathing
Okay.
meditation, some of them guided. My friend, he recommended just like sitting down and like trying to like empty your mind, so to speak, and just like
Mhm.
focus on something, whether it be like like imagine in your head like a circle or a square or a
Mhm.
light bulb or something like that, and just try and pay attention and focus on that. um uh, and that'll be probably more and just trying to get in touch with like the reality of what's around, if that makes any sense.
Yes.
Like what everything, like all my senses, when I'm breathing, when I'm feeling the different
Mhm.
textures, sensations, that kind of stuff while I'm
Mhm.
breathing.
Being in the moment, in the present moment. Yeah.
Really, I'm just trying to calm my mind. One, because it's always racing, and two, just being just being in the moment, appreciating the moment.
Yeah, yeah, the mind doesn't stop. I think it helps a lot. Like, yeah, it helps a lot. Like, it's what I will do here, 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 and sometimes we just need a little bit of calm.
just relax, just for a second.
Yeah,
You know,
so true.
I found even like 90 seconds of breathing and just trying to pull that in and just appreciate, if you hear the birds chirping or you hear, the creek, or or even if you're just in a room quietly,
Hmm.
just appreciating right now what you're breathing, what you're feeling. A lot of that'll help alone clear out some of that noise in the head.
I totally agree with you. Totally. Yeah, yeah. I think meditation, it still helped me a lot. Like I think it's something that if I don't do it, I miss it. Like I get used to the routine of doing so. I think it's incredible. Now I want to talk a little bit about your mindset. How do you describe your mindset?
Mindset. Let's see. I'm inclined towards challenges. It might be something that is not realistic to achieve or do. You
Hmm.
could give me a time frame, and you might be like, it's not, it's impossible to do that in 2 hours to get a certain assignment done. And I said, okay, I bet I can get close to 2 hours. Real, of course, I try to be realistic, but I'm always going to try and push. If you're like, that's going to take 3 hours minimum, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to try and do 2:59. And show you that it can
Yeah.
be done quicker. So my mindset is one that I can do anything I put my mind to. Of course, it has to make sense, but I'm not going to let the logistics get in the way of me trying it. You know, um, whether it be something physical or um um in the financial sector or something like that, or even in my personal life, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to pour myself into it. That's the kind of mindset that I have.
I think it's a great, great, great answer, man. And I want to talk a little bit more about your program. If you can tell me a little bit more, in what consists your program?
Like fitness or
How do you do it? Because I was seeing in the website, but if you can tell me, if you work in different, imagine if I'm your client, how we will start this? By the fitness, or it's all
and it,
together?
and it's right body soul is still something that's definitely in the very premature stage and it's
Okay.
growing. Um, but it would start with seeing where you're at. If
Mm,
somebody's confident and comfortable with themselves mentally, then I would be okay. What do you want to fix physically or change, or what do you want to get better at or improve? If it was, if I'm talking with them and I see that mentally they're in a very insecure, unhealthy space,
mm,
then I would want to work with them or at least help get them the resources to get themselves to that healthy space. Because you can have a great body, but if your mind, which runs and operates your body, is not in a good place, then it's like, literally having a massive muscle or a slim physique that is not any more confident. You might look it outside, but inside, what really matters is you're going to feel like if you're feeling like trash, the great body or whatever you're trying to achieve is not going to make you feel any better for that second. Yeah, oh yeah, I accomplished this, or I won that, or I look so much better. I went up a size, or I went down a size, which helps in your confidence or your ego of what people see around you. But inside, you still are looking at the same person.
yeah, for me, it's completely connected. Like it's if you have a great mind, but the body doesn't allow,
Yeah,
it's yeah.
there's definitely a balance. I agree. There's definitely a balance. They're both. That's why it's the three things: the fitness, the mind, the soul, the mind, and nutrition. I feel like they're all physiologically connected. And but like if I'm starting off with somebody, like to try
Hmm,
and prop them up so that we can get them to a point where they're running. It's like if you have four tires and one of them is a
exactly.
little flatter, you might want to fill that one up before you start focusing on checking the ones that actually still have some air in them.
I think it's complete. And after it's like a domino effect because maybe the guy, if it sees the size, or the body, it's getting better. Maybe we'll start to work in the mind. It for me
Mm-hmm.
it works like that. I think it will work like that. Now I want
Yeah.
to know, how do you define for you success?
Success. So success to me is happiness. It's gratitude. um, and having what I need to live, you know, and maybe just a little bit more if I can. But that's how I would define success in like my personal life. Something that's really gratifying for me is helping others. So if I can help one person, like it's funny, people like, especially now, people like look at how many followers I have and how I exploded in followers and this, that, and the other, and I'm like, okay, but it's not just the followers, it's not the likes. That doesn't mean I'm going to be successful at it. That doesn't mean that my content resonates with them. That doesn't mean anything. When I go on my insights though, and I see they saved something or they shared something, I'm like, oh, you know what? I feel successful. It could have been one share, but it impacted them enough that they said, "Ooh, Johnny, he needs to see this. This might help him or encourage him or motivate him like it did me." So for me, that would be that makes me feel successful.
It's a great definition of success, man. Just one life each time, like, and planting your seed all the way. Now I want to know, what is the legacy that you want to leave behind?
I haven't thought about that actually.
Uh,
Um, I feel like I got a lot of time, so I still had time to figure that out.
yeah.
But a very like on the spot definite idea of what I would want to leave behind as a legacy is a good name. Um, Somebody said to me at my last job, one of the guys that he was there for 8 years and he was working, he was like, when he was having his going away party, he mentioned, a lot of people showed up for his party, and he
Mm,
was like, "You see this? All these people, they respect me." And he's like, "They respect me because I've done good for their job. I've done good for them as a coworker." And I guess that would be a legacy that I would want to leave behind, a good name.
mm.
And I'd rather have a lot of people at my funeral because they know I've helped them or I've impacted or touched them in a positive way than any other way.
Yeah, it's a great, and it's also curious because one of the previous interviewer, he told me like, and I will use this now. What is the three words that you want to hear in your funeral? In your funeral, the people talking about you.
Again, that's something I don't think about. I mean, you're pushing me into new spaces here. um,
But I
that's great. I
wanted,
love it.
yeah,
I love it though because it's something I otherwise wouldn't think. Um, I would definitely know that I want to be referenced that I've inspired people, um, physically and emotionally to take care of their health. But three words would be inspire, encourage, and I guess fearless.
wow, nice, man, love it.
Yeah.
And I want to know if you can tell me like projects that you are working. It's your new project. If you can tell me a little bit more or something new that you are doing, if you want to share with me.
Yeah, so very again, it's very, very premature. Like I feel like this is like Rise Body is a toddler, and we're talking about stuff that's like infants inside of that toddler. But it would be I am talking with different people about mental health and ways to contribute and connect with young individuals
Hmm,
who have come from traumatic backgrounds or who are currently like in the foster society or like in the social worker type of world.
hmm,
But and that I am also looking in the near short term future towards becoming a personal trainer myself. So that way I can actually go ahead and work with individuals and develop uh, routines and as well, find ways to intermesh that with their physiological health or
hmm.
psychological health. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the balance between the two, it's the and nutrition also. Nutrition, I think
Hmm.
it's
We forget so much. And if you mentioned nutrition, it's just been in the back of my head, like trying to blurt out. Like I didn't realize that 75% of our serotonin levels are produced in our gut, and our gut can be affected by our nutrition and what we eat.
okay. Can you
Like
talk a little bit more?
I'm writing an article about it. I'm gonna put on my site. Um, but basically, it's amazing the food that we put in our body. For instance, lactose intolerant people,
Mm,
their body doesn't digest the proteins correctly, and what happens is that throws the balance of their gut bacteria off, which is gonna enter. It's like a whole ecosystem in our gut,
mm,
and that's gonna if that ecosystem gets thrown off balance, then it's gonna affect chemicals that our body produces. It's gonna our gut. The funny thing, when you feel nervous, you're nervous because you have a job interview up here, but you
mm,
don't feel it in your brain. You might have the racing thoughts, but you feel it in your gut. You got the butterflies, you know, and it's not a one-way street from our brain to our gut. Our gut also affects our brain. So if our gut is not happy, for some reason, we're not gonna feel happy.
mm. Never think really. Never.
Yeah. And
I
most
think
I didn't either until I was doing research for this article I was writing, and I was like, yo, what? That just blew my mind away.
which advice you will give me if to start to improve a nutrition, if you can say.
Start improving on nutrition, learn. And that's the
Mm,
first thing. They don't teach us anything in school. They don't teach,
mm,
I of course I didn't grow up in a traditional
mm,
schooling
mm,
system, but from everybody I talk with, they don't teach you enough about nutrition in school. Um, and then try to avoid processed foods as much as possible. We always hear that. Try to avoid processed
mm,
foods. And then um and it's a little crazy but organic if possible. Because all them weird killers and everything, everybody's concerned about the cancerous effects of them. But I'm not concerned about the cancerous effects. I'm concerned about how it's killing your gut, and it's gonna throw your entire body off kilter.
mm. I think it's a great. Man, now I want to know, like with the conversation, I'm a big reader. I don't know if you are a big reader. If you have any advice of a book to give me or like
I'm not a big reader. I
podcasts.
will listen. I can listen
Okay.
all day, and I'll like it might be books or it might be. I'm a huge listener on like keynote speeches,
Okay.
whether that be TED Talk or something like that, because that just gravitates a little bit more towards like the psychology, the science side of things, and I'm a little more inclined in that direction. I do have a couple of books that I gotta get the audiobooks for and listen to.
Okay.
And I can give you an opinion on that once I definitely when I read it. But it's the two that I'm looking at right now is Happy Money
Okay.
by Honda, I think Ken Honda,
Okay.
and then the other one is The Untethered Soul, and I forget who the artist of that is.
Okay.
But those are two that I'll get back to you once I finish those
Okay.
audiobooks.
Okay. Perfect. And I wanted to talk, like you told me about TED Talks, psychology. Do you like also a lot of psychology, you know? You think it's you?
I think understanding psychology is
Hmm.
interesting. It's an interesting field. It's definitely filled with a lot of hypotheses and opinions. Um, but I think understanding the different I'm a huge believer in listen, observe, draw conclusions. That's like how I've been I try to live my day in my life. So I hear all these different opinions, I see these different studies, and then I draw conclusions from it. So yeah, I think psychology is a good thing, because you at least get a bunch of different opinions of the way the brain works, different studies, different results, and like that's what I love. I love results, so I'll definitely see that, and then figure out how to implement that into my life instead of just hearing, Doctor So and So says this.
Hmm. Yeah, making a filtration from the information because nowadays I think it's a little bit difficult. The quantity of the information that we have, it's good, but
And I feel like a lot of it is not just it's not there's a lot of opinions in it. Like so when I'm researching, for instance, when I'm going on and I'm researching something about, like for instance, the gut, and I go on to Google Scholar and I'm looking at all these different things, there's a lot of articles, but so many of them are going to be hypotheses, was inconclusive or insufficient data. The data from the study results, that's really what's going to tell me what if that hypothesis is real or that opinion is real. It's like somebody can have an opinion that is sunset, but if they didn't go and look out the window and see the sun setting, I can take your word for it, but should I? Especially if you said that before and it wasn't, so I gotta see that, oh, you took a picture or you open the blinds and you're like, hey, look, the sun's setting, it's orange sky. I'm like, okay, you're good.
Yeah, and I love it what you say. Like, take the, and I think it's so important for the people nowadays. Just taking the information, go and check it by with the data, and after draw your own conclusions. Because it's like just thinking opinion by opinion.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And
tell me,
it's
please.
Yeah, and I think, and it's something I struggled with for a long time. I didn't want to have my own opinion because your opinion is linked to accountability, responsibility. It's tied to your identity. So if you have an insecure identity or you don't know who you are or you don't like the idea of being accountable for yourself, then you're not going to want to have your own opinion. But if I can take John or a Steve's opinion over here and reflect his opinion off of me and be like, well, that's what the data or this is what I learned or heard. Well, you know what? Now, when they shift their, oh, you're completely wrong about that, I can say, oh no, and deflect it back to Steve over there.
It's a way to protect yourself. Yeah, and it's appear that you, maybe I'm wrong, but you tell me, you know a lot about your inner you. What, like, how do that, with all the process, when do you start to improve so much? Like, listen to your guts and listen to yourself.
That's a tough one because so listening to like I feel like to listen to your gut, you have to have enough experience in life for your gut to give you good advice. You know, like you can get your gut can tell you, oh, I'm going to make a killing on this stock or this cryptocurrency, and then you pour all your life savings into it, and then it goes down to zero. Well, how much trading experience do you have? Do this your first trade or your second or your 10th? But if it's your 58th or hundreds or that 500th trade, you're going to be able to go, my gut says this is a good trade. But it's not just because your gut and your brain work together. Your gut, it's like your brain says, hey, let them know that this is similar to 200 trades we did that turned out good out of the 1,000 trades he did. Your brain is like really complicated, so he's like, I can't tell him that myself because it's like talking to myself. So gut, you're gonna give him a feeling. So I feel like it's a very complicated thing to like listen to your gut. But like in general, I think being self-aware and trying out everything and having an open mind is so important to being able to reach that point where when you make a decision or you got to do something, you're in tune with who you are, so you can go ahead and make draw a conclusion or an opinion and stand by it.
Great. And how do you think that we can develop ourselves that ability?
I think you gotta be self-aware, and
Hmm.
I don't I know the way I became self-aware is, and I'm still doing it, is I spend a lot of time like by myself. So because and the reason I say that is because you can go with a therapist. I've seen two different therapists. I've seen what I have friends, but they're really just sounding boards, and they can help clean up some of the noise. But at the end of the day, if the source that where the noise is coming from is not clear enough or in tune, then it's just you're not really getting anywhere. If that makes any sense, and that probably wasn't the best analogy, but like I'll spend a lot of time by myself, not just like sitting there like thinking, but I'll be like at the basketball court or I'll be at the gym. That's one reason why I love being active, because if I'm at the gym and I throw my headphones on and I'm listening to Eric Thomas, Les Brown, Tony Robbins, my mind we're always multitasking, so our brain only hears a little bit of this, and then all of a sudden our brains want to go introspective and see how
Mm,
that applies to us. If that is part of our life, can I apply that? Do I do that? So I feel like that helps a lot with the self-awareness, listening
mm,
to those kind of things. That's why, like, when I'm in the gym, or I don't listen to I 99%, I have a gym playlist that I haven't probably opened in months, probably like 6 months, because only one or two times when I'm in the gym, I might actually go ahead like and open it like in a 6 month span,
mm.
because I've just found that listening to these other things really helps me to sort myself out. You know,
I think it's a great, yeah, and you already, because it was part of my question. It was that you already explained how to be with yourself, and yeah, like for you it's the gym. For some people maybe
I might be cooking,
meditation, cooking,
maybe
exactly.
anything, art, but I
Mm,
and this is my other, like I said, I don't know, I haven't delved into self-awareness enough to actually be like, oh yeah, I did some research on it. But like, on my opinion, observing myself,
mm,
having something that doesn't distract your mind or kind of fuels it to, to kind of guide that process. Because
mm,
I can cook all day. I love cooking. Honestly,
mm,
I can cook all day, but that's not going to help me.
mm,
Now, if I'm cooking and I put something on in the background, or I play a video that is kind of that helps lead me, guide me, whether that be Tony Robbins or one of these other guys, or even if it's just some ocean sound that just allows me to kind of quiet my thoughts and recalibrate a little bit, then that's when I find that activity more productive.
mm.
And
And I think it's great. Do you know? Do you think with that we can describe it as a flow state, that you are
death,
in flow? I don't know if you listen about that. Like one of the TED talks, one, I don't remember the name of the gentleman, but this he talk about like a flow state, that you lose the notion of time, that you, I don't know
yeah.
if when you are
I,
in
I
the
I haven't
gym.
heard. I have, and you're talking about. Excuse me. You're talking about death, right? Did I hear that right?
No, no, not that. Like flow state, it's when you lose, like you are cooking
Hmm.
and you start cooking at 2 p.m. and it's, I don't know, 7 p.m. and you didn't know that the hours passed by. I don't know if
I feel, and I think I know what you're talking about.
mm,
I haven't heard of it as flow, like
flow state.
flow state. I haven't heard of that term before. Um,
I will
but
send you.
yes, I would be interested in seeing that. But I feel like it's when it's something that you're really engaged with, or you really enjoy, or something that's kind of tied to your purpose. Time just flies.
Hmm,
If you love working out, you're gonna find yourself in the working out for 3 hours and be like, oh crap, I forgot, I lost track of time. If you
exactly.
love cooking, it's the same thing. If you love art, you can be, an artist can be there painting for hours and be like, oh, I didn't realize I was in the studio for 10 hours, you know, or I didn't eat. When you get to that state,
Exactly.
when you don't realize that you didn't do something that's essential. I haven't gone to the bathroom in 3 hours, and I remember I had to use the bathroom. It's because you've engaged with something that your body really is in flow with.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think it's a perfect description of flow state. Yeah, perfect description. Now I want to know, like, maybe if there is a possibility, and we hope so, that if there is a child in this world that is passing for the same that you passed, and you can see this now, what is your advice to them?
I guess it's time. Time it's a funny thing. When the younger you are, the more things look like they're set in time and things don't change. And forever, like you think about forever now, your definition of forever now is different from a child's definition. Forever for a child is 6 hours or a month. So it might be bad, but things get better. Time changes everything. It's like they say time heals all. I feel like time can fix a lot of things. It can't heal everything, it can't make everything better, but you'll be in a better state with time.
It's a great advice. Now I want to know for the people that where they can find you, if they want to send you a message, if they want to talk with you, where they can find you.
Yeah. So I'd suggest my Instagram is Rise Body and Soul.
Yes.
So you can DM me there. If you DM me and I don't answer because I got a lot of people, I probably have 200 people sitting in my DMs, and I'm just hacking away as much as I can.
Yeah,
Tag me or comment on one of my new posts, and then just let me like in the comment and just say, hey, I sent you a DM. I'm more likely going to be able to get back to you faster that way than I can if you just send me a regular DM. My website risebodysoul.com. I also have my cell number on there, so you
okay,
can also text me on that, and that you definitely get back. I'll definitely get back to you quicker on that than on my DMs.
perfect. And now for the last question, I want to know if you want to share any last advice, any last thought with me and the listeners slash viewers.
Life doesn't give you anything. You know, I feel like everything that you want you can have is if it's part of your purpose. Because I wanted the insurance to work out for me, but it wasn't part of my purpose. It did not make me feel good. You know, it served a purpose. You know, it got me the that's what got me onto the guy with LinkedIn. That's what got me to lead me to the trying to
Yeah,
get Gary's advice about that. So life is funny. Try everything that you can reasonably within your power and your ability, but don't automatically say no to stuff just because it's not part of who you think you are, or it's not part of what you usually would do. If you usually wouldn't do it, most of the time that means you should try it. You know, as long as you know like it sticks with your values. You know, but otherwise, like I wouldn't have done a podcast. I would have said no. Like just 6 months ago, 2 months ago, I would have said no. If somebody would have been like, "Hey, I'm starting a podcast. Do you want to be a guest on there? I like your Instagram content." I probably would have been like, "I don't think so. Not now." But you know, I it's something I'm working on, and life always gets better the more I see myself saying yes to things. It
love it,
does.
love it. Really, really love it, man. Really, thank you so much, man. Don't forget now, like really, I think it's perfect ending. Don't forget to go to Hiking's Instagram webpage. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, Spotify, all the social media that we have out there. Okay, great day for everyone, man. Thank you
All right.
so
Thank
much
you, Vasco.
again. Thank
Thank
you.
you, everybody.